The first question I have is, am I calling you Champ or Nick today? What's the correct naming
Well,
culture?
you might want to get in champ while you can because you never know. It could be 48 more hours and we're done here. But as a fighting champion, I need to be a little bit more reliant on winning. So we can go with Nick or interchangeable. I'm fine with that.
Okay, well, thank you for taking the time, Champ slash Nick.
Yes.
Give me the plugs for the upcoming events and all that. So we get that out of the way and we'll talk all 80s metal.
That sounds great. Most importantly, TNA Victory Road is on Friday, and it's on the TNA Plus app, which we're really working on getting going and keeping it going forward. The buzz is around TNA, and hopefully some of that is from me. We got the Hardy Boys, Joe Hendry, an entire roster, a badass X Division title on the line with Mike Bailey and Zach Wentz. The roster is making this a hot ticket. We've been selling out shows. Hopefully, I'm doing a little part of that also. I love being the champion. I would be an ambassador for TNA. I would be doing this PR stuff if I wasn't the champion, but I have just a little bit more pride in being the champion and being the mouthpiece every chance I get. So Friday night, we got Victory Road. It's in San Antonio. We've been selling out the last couple pay-per-views, and Saturday we do Impact, and I know that's the night where I do after the show, the meet and greet with the fans, the kids, the people, and we get to talk to them for a few minutes. And then we go out and celebrate. Hopefully that is the case. So TNA Plus, Friday, Victory Road. Saturday, we got Impact, San Antonio. We've been all over this town, myself, Laredo Kid, and Moose, nonstop since we got here Monday night. And we're going to go all the way through till Saturday. So not just showing up and doing a show, but actually getting to get out there. We got to an Air Force base. We've been out meeting the fans and people. We got a signing tonight in about an hour. So as soon as I get out of here, I'll hop in the shower and go. Well, if I can get a couple crunches in, that'd be great too. But most importantly, give it back to the fans and checking out the town in a city where we're normally just in and right out.
So 2024 seems to have been maybe the busiest year of your career because on your own terms, two major national companies have had you regularly on the programming, on top of you doing all the press, on top of you doing all the signings.
Okay, you know what? I'll take it. It is a busier time. Before COVID, there was a 7 or 8 year window about 10 years ago where myself, Miz, Sheamus, Kofi, we were kind of doing 5-6 days a week, nonstop, no time off, not missing time for injuries, not asking time off for people's weddings, and just constantly going nonstop. But also at that point, you just kind of open an email and you go to the airport. This stuff is like I'm actually booking some things on my own, doing TNA stuff, doing the extra PR work. Anytime we get a chance to talk to somebody to promote the product, sure, but also doing stuff on my own time, signings, other shows, comedy shows with my brother, Hunkamania, that we got one coming up when Bound for Glory goes to Detroit. We'll be there on the 25th. And of course, we just started the Nemeth Bros podcast last week. We got a new one that comes out Thursday, and it's everywhere you can get them. Podcast One, and we're getting going. It's fun, it's jokes, guests, very little wrestling, but there is 20 years of wrestling stories up here, so you get the little nuggets before I put them all in the book in 2 years. So it's a good little run.
That was actually going to be the next question. Book, legitimately working on one?
Legitimately, in theory, yes. Writing things down and doing interviews. No. I'm really focused on right now, really going hard, continuing to not take time off, not miss any weekends, and just keep going and getting better and getting every possible matchup, whether it's at TNA or somewhere else that I can get while I can still go in that window of being a legitimate world champion for any company. I think once I hit 50, then the clock is like, yeah, he's a 50-year-old guy as world champ. Even if he is in great shape, no matter how much work I've had done, like it gets to a point to where, well, should he be champ? So right now I got to focus on the next 4 or 5 years, 6, making sure I get everything in I possibly can, get some of those dream matches like Tanahashi that I never thought I'd be in the ring with, that kind of stuff, every chance I get. So I will focus on that then. But for the moment, I am just slowly but surely putting little bullet point stories down in my notes in my phone like I was advised to. So.
Well, it sounds like with the books, you're doing it the hard way. The
Yes.
easier way as a podcast person would be the Adam Carolla approach, which is you just talk for hours on a podcast,
Right.
and then you say to an assistant, just transcribe it, and there's the book.
Or actually just transcribe the good stuff. Okay, yeah, got it. Go through it. Yeah, no. And I thought you were going to say just having a ghostwriter where you're like, hey, kind of tell me a story, and then I'll piece the rest together. My favorite version of book, by the way, is Pam Anderson's. I believe it is called Star. And
Yes.
here's why it is my favorite. One, it was a quick read. It was great. And, she's beloved and a babe. Everyone loves her. But I read it so quickly. And then I realized, I go, oh, this is such a smart move. It was basically, I don't know the exact term. I should have looked it up. It's an autobiography.
To interrupt you. That was the novel. That was really the memoir.
Yes. So it is like a fake autobiography, but it's about a fake person. And this isn't the case, but it's like, I'm making it up. Like, instead of Tommy Lee as her boyfriend, it's like Johnny Ree and me. We went to, so it's like a couple different names, and a couple of them are not close enough. You got to like figure out what it is. But it, they tell us, like, we were on this boat and we did this stuff, but then also we killed this drifter. And it's like, so it's like they mix just enough fantasy and fiction in there that some of the stories you've heard about are still real and cool. So I might do something along those lines, because that was so entertaining. I read that book a couple of times when it first came out, as it was so good. And I went, that's what I want to do. And then have people try and figure out who's who. And then that way I can't get sued, which would be great.
The killed the drifter part sounds like you're brushing up on your Norm Macdonald, who did a book like that himself.
Yeah, bro, that book, when you think Norm Macdonald can't get any better, I read that book twice back to back, and it was so beautiful. I don't know the exact word that you're going to go to, but Kill a Drifter is really not funny. It's not funny when it's it's a comedy book and someone's saying it, sure. But it just the first thing it reminded me of was one of his bits where he's like, they were found in a shallow grave. And he's like, never bury him in a shallow grave. That's where they find everybody. That's a Norm thing, but it's unrelated to the story that you were about to say. But Norm is the king, and I've been the luckiest guy in the world on many fronts. And I got to hang out with that guy one night and tell jokes back and forth with him, made him laugh once, and I will never forget it. And it might be the coolest thing I've ever done. We got to just sit there and hang out with this guy, and he's being Norm, exactly the way Spade and Sandler and Lovitz all talk about him. He was that, and it was one of the most beautiful things in the world. I will never forget that. What a great night. One of the best nights of my life.
Well, the 80s medal, as promised, you're the one who said Tommy Lee before I could. So I have a theory right here. When you talk about liking 80s metal, you usually gravitate towards saying Motley Crue, Twisted Sister. But the only smiling frontman of all the bands you like is David Lee Roth.
Yes.
There's no other frontman that really outwardly smiled on stage. So was there a lot of Roth influence in prior incarnations of you as a wrestler?
What's really funny? I usually say Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, Poison, Rat, whatever. But the absolute, my favorite one, David Lee Roth, DLR, no matter what, is the absolute. Yes, it's very much the reason where I got a lot of my outfit choices. Several people, unfortunately, compared me to Shawn Michaels a lot. And the thing was, I didn't grow up watching Shawn Michaels, and I didn't really watch Shawn Michaels matches. I just happened to be a smaller guy who was great at my job. And then I did a super kick, and everyone goes, look, they're exactly the same. It's like, I have one move. It's the same. And now I'm just really leaning into it to piss you people off. So that's fine. That was it. At 17 out of 19 years as a heel, no big deal. So it was all like, no, these pants are really based on this Too Fast for Love album cover or David Lee Roth's outfits, but I couldn't do the assless chaps. As much as I thought about it, two different pairs had mesh over the cheek. So I got one cheek, and then some were banned from ringside permanently. But 100%, yes, David Lee Roth is the guy for me. And but also, man, Vince Neil, Stephen Piercy, Axel, of course, except I would never really miss work or come in late. But all that stuff makes sense.
But all those other people that you're naming didn't smile.
You're very correct.
But the David Lee Roth's smile was generally masking anger and hatred. And you're smiling, you generally smile more when you're a villain.
Because I realize how great it is to be a terrible person and how good it makes me feel temporarily. But then you lay awake at night going, is this my life? What have I come to? Wasn't I supposed to be a good person? Like, nah, don't worry about it.
There you go. So what concerts are coming up for you? Because I would have to assume at this point in your life, when you're in, like, let's just say you're in Minneapolis, you don't just go back to the hotel and sleep. If you got the workout and all that, you're going, what band is in town?
That is a huge point. A huge factor was Doc from WWE. He was we used to go see Hairbangers Ball anywhere in the Chicago area, And one time we always would look, we would just check out all the shows like, hey, where are we at this weekend? These three. Is there a festival in town? Is there a show? Is it great? I got it. I go, oh, okay, then I got to stay up all night. Well, I had a 5 a.m. flight anyway. I wasn't really going to sleep that much. I'll sleep on the plane, blah, blah, blah. But I am a sucker for a cover band, anything along the lines, whether it's a medley of bands or a Poison cover band or Guns N' Roses, any of that stuff. If it's a couple minutes away and I can make it after work, I'll get there and do it. So I do live for that. So one of these days I'm going to grow up and then I move out of my parents' house and cut my hair and all that stuff. But, that day is not today.
That day is not today. So recapping everything I've learned, I didn't know about the podcast before that. The podcast, the eventual memoir, the wrestling pretty damn full time. Acting, though. People know you can act. You do have some credits, and we're not just talking about Shallow Hal. Is that eventually something that you see yourself coming back to?
For sure. And it's a great thing. It's a cool thing. My brother is in LA writing stuff and appearing on either Kimmel or commercials or shows, and we do stuff together. And there is something there, of course, and there always will be. But for the most part, like no matter what I do, like I do stand-up comedy or even politics or things on the side or this podcast that we're doing, it's all just to get one more person to come watch me do what I'm really good at, and that's professional wrestling. So when it does come to acting and things like that, that's already something that we do. But I love being able to do that. I got to start like the weirdest way, like WWE put me in the starring role in a movie, but I couldn't get a starring role on a live event. Like, so it's really weird to me that it was like always like, hey, you stole the show. That's great. We're going to go with these 5 other guys, but also you're the star of this movie we're making. And you're like, oh, okay, got it. So there's so many different things that you can do. And when you do them, you go, my absolute favorite part of all that stuff is anytime I do a TV show or a movie and everyone in the cast says, wow, you guys are really nice. So many people in LA are dicks. And I go, I love that, because as much as I am a dick in real life, when we leave this industry, we're so focused on like working for the fans and working hard and living our dream that when we get to these sets, we're almost always still these humble guys and gals that just want to have a great show. And like, thank you, behind the scenes, the people who are working the lighting, any of that stuff. It's like, I'm lucky to be doing this job. Thank you for you doing your job. This is the best. So people went out of their way to let me know any wrestlers that they had met, whether they were famous or independent or don't know. They worked hard and they were so kind. And it's like, that's weird that that's not a normal thing, but it's not. So I love when that stands out like that. And yesterday I had my Kiss shirt on for all our interviews. One of us would have had to change. It would have been embarrassing.
And it sounds like you're coming for Aaron Stevens' spot on Gutfeld.
I'm not coming for anyone's spot, but New York is nice this time of year.
Bottom line, thank you for the years of great entertainment. Hope you have a very, very long reign as world champ. Looking forward to that podcast. Looking forward to the stand-up. Keep doing what you do, champ/Nick.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And any chance I get, whether I'm the TNA champ or not, I love getting the word out about this company, the show, the people behind the scenes. The roster is kicking so much ass. I will take a little credit for it, but man, it's those, they're all the stuff that I wanted to do my whole life, steal the show and talk about it and put the clips online. They're doing it every time. And they're the reason we're selling these shows out. And I'm happy to be a part of it. And Victory Road is going to be great on Friday, and that taping for Impact on Saturday. But most importantly, after Saturday night in San Antonio is going to be a blast. Paltrocast.